Hey there, friend. I'm so glad you could join me again tonight. Right now, let your imagination drift to an ancient city, one that has been sleeping beneath the waves for thousands of years, a place of shimmering gold and quiet mystery. The story of Atlantis is waiting for us, like a half-remembered dream you get to revisit as you lie here in the dark. So go ahead, adjust your pillow just the way you like it, let your shoulders soften into the mattress. Take a slow, deep breath in, and as you exhale, allow the day to dissolve. I'll be right here with you. Tonight, I'll share the most fascinating threads of the Atlantis legend with you, one at a time, like quiet illuminations meant to calm your mind. And if sleep arrives and carries you away before I'm done, that is the most perfect outcome of all. If these gentle nights help you unwind, please subscribe, and I'll be here for you whenever you need a peaceful voice. Now, let's begin. The legend of Atlantis first drifted into human history through the writings of the Greek philosopher Plato, around 360 years before the Common Era. In two of his dialogues, Timaeus and Critias, he spoke of a magnificent island empire, a naval powerhouse that existed thousands of years before his own lifetime. Imagine a civilization so distant that even Plato looked back at it as though through a soft golden haze, a memory of perfection that felt both real and unreachable. He described a world where advanced knowledge and serene power flowed together, as if the sea itself had shaped a paradise and then quietly pulled it away. This story was presented not as pure fantasy, but as a lost truth, a tale passed down from Egyptian priests to Greek lawmakers, carrying the weight of ancient wisdom into the quiet night of history. Plato detailed the city's breathtaking architecture with a kind of reverent wonder. He described a series of concentric rings of water and land, alternating perfectly like the gentle ripples that spread across a still pond when a single leaf touches the surface. These circles created a floating, harmonious geometry, a city that seemed to hover between the elements. Bridges stretched across the rings, connecting each island to the next, and tunnels carved beneath the canals allowed ships to glide peacefully from one circle to the next without ever disturbing the calm. At the very center on the central island stood the royal palace and a temple to Poseidon, ringed by a wall of pure gold. The effect was one of serene order, a place where civilization and nature existed in a perfect, breathing balance.
The city was said to be incredibly wealthy, but not in the way we usually imagine riches. Its walls were coated with orichalcum, a mysterious alloy that gleamed with a warm reddish gold sheen, second in value only to gold itself. This shimmering metal caught the Mediterranean sunlight and gave the entire city a soft internal radiance, as if Atlantis glowed from within, a lantern resting on the deep blue water. The gentle reflections of that golden light would have danced across the surrounding calm seas, visible from great distances like a promise of something sacred. Imagine standing on the shore at twilight and seeing that warm glow on the horizon, not harsh or dazzling, but tender and beckoning, a floating dreamscape woven from metal and myth.
According to the myth, Atlantis was blessed with an extraordinary abundance of nature, a true sanctuary of peace and plenty. Warm and cool springs flowed gently through the landscape, their waters mingling to create natural baths that soothed both body and spirit. Lush gardens flourished everywhere, heavy with exotic flowers and fruits that filled the air with a soft, sweet perfume. The inhabitants lived in harmony with this generous land, surrounded by the quiet hum of bees, the rustle of palm leaves, and the distant murmur of the sea. It was a place where no one hungered and no one hurried, a gentle kingdom floating in time, offering simple, profound tranquility to all who dwelled there.
The downfall of the city is described not as a chaotic catastrophe, but as a quiet, inevitable transition, as natural as the tide rolling in. Plato wrote that the island vanished into the depths of the ocean in a single day and night of misfortune, leaving behind only a vast, shimmering sea. There were no roaring flames or crumbling cliffs in his account, just a slow, gentle sinking, as if the ocean had simply decided to reclaim what was always meant to be hers. Picture that great glowing city, with its rings of land and water, its walls of orichalcum, being drawn softly downward into the blue. The waters closed over it without fury, in one long, silent breath, and then stillness returned, as peaceful and complete as sleep itself. And perhaps that is why we still dream of Atlantis tonight, because somewhere beneath the waves, it rests in a quiet far deeper than any story we could ever tell. For centuries, curious minds have turned their gaze toward the gentle blue of the Mediterranean Sea, wondering if the lost city of Atlantis might have been inspired by the Minoan civilization on the island of Crete. A massive volcanic eruption on the island of Thera, now known as Santorini, reshaped the land and water in ways that closely mirror the legend. The earth trembled, ash darkened the skies, and the sea rushed into a great caldera, swallowing coastlines and leaving behind a shattered ring-like bay. This dramatic transformation created a landscape of sunken hills and restless currents, a place where memory could easily paint a picture of a kingdom lost to the waves. Generations later, that story may have drifted into the tales that Plato set down, a whisper of real catastrophe softened into myth. Some researchers have turned their eyes from the sea to the land, gazing toward the vast golden sands of Mauritania, where the Richat structure rests like a silent, watchful eye. Known as the Eye of the Sahara, this geological wonder presents a series of perfectly concentric circles, a natural amphitheater carved by wind and time. Its ringed form is eerily reminiscent of Plato's description of Atlantis, with alternating bands of land and water encircling a central island. The ancient stones sit quietly under the desert sun, their deep history buried beneath drifting dunes, and they invite us to imagine a time when oceans might have lapped at these shores. Though no carved pillars or sunken walls have been found, the eye gazes calmly upward, a patient riddle etched into the earth. In the 19th century, a different kind of explorer turned his mind to Atlantis, not with a shovel, but with a gentle and unifying vision. Ignatius Donnelly proposed that this lost continent was the true mother of all ancient civilizations, a single fount of wisdom from which the knowledge of Egypt, the Maya, and others gently flowed. He imagined a golden age of art and science that blossomed on a now-vanished island, its seeds carried across the oceans by survivors to distant corners of the world. His ideas painted a picture of human connection, a single shining thread binding the pyramids, the temples, and the star charts together. While later scholarship has taken a different path, Donnelly's dreamy theory still enchants those who long for a common origin story, a quiet echo of unity. Modern oceanographers explore a different frontier, descending into the deep, quiet blue of the Atlantic, where the seafloor slowly rips itself apart along the mid-Atlantic ridge. This immense underwater mountain range is a place of constant, rhythmic movement, as molten rock wells up and tectonic plates inch apart with the patience of deep time. No sunlit city has been found resting in these dark valleys, only the strange and silent life that thrives in absolute stillness. Yet the slow, steady breathing of the Earth's crust creates a profound sense of mystery, a reminder that this vast hidden landscape is largely unexplored. Somewhere in that perpetual night, beneath layers of sediment and drifting ooze, the ridge whispers that entire chapters of our planet's story may still be waiting to be read. Today, Atlantis has drifted far beyond the realm of maps and sonar, settling instead into the quiet waters of our collective imagination as a peaceful symbol of utopia. It is no longer a mere geographical puzzle, but a drifting dream of a perfect society, a garden of harmony and beauty hidden beneath the soft, filtered light of the ocean's surface. We picture marble towers draped in seaweed, wise and gentle people living in balance with nature, and a calm that the world above has forgotten. This Atlantis is an idea, a hopeful invitation to close our eyes and envision a place where the best of humanity might still reside, just beyond the horizon. It rests not in the sand or stone, but somewhere deep in the heart, a quiet, beautiful reminder of what we might one day become. Long ago, in the soft light of ancient Athens, the philosopher Plato first told the story of Atlantis. He described it as a great naval power that had thrived 9,000 years before his own time, a span so immense it feels like a dream from the edge of memory. In his writings, Timaeus and Critias, he painted a picture of a sophisticated civilization that commanded the seas with grace and wisdom, and then in a single day and night of misfortune, this shining world was gently swallowed by the ocean. It sank into the depths without a sound, as if the sea had drawn a blanket of silence over it, leaving only a story behind. The city itself was designed as a series of concentric circles, like ripples spreading outward from a still pond. Rings of land alternated with rings of water, creating a radiating pattern of perfect tranquility. Bridges arched softly over the canals, and tunnels passed quietly beneath, their stone archways cool and dim. Ships would glide inwardly from the outer circle toward the heart, their motion as unhurried as a cloud crossing the moon. The whole design seemed to breathe with a quiet rhythm, as if the city were a living creature resting peacefully upon the water. It was a place where geometry and nature held each other in a gentle embrace, a floating garden of stone and sea. The capital was adorned with a metal of otherworldly beauty, a gold-hued alloy Plato called orichalcum. This material caught the sunlight and held it softly, as if it had captured the first blush of dawn forever. The walls and temples glowed with a gentle warmth, bathing every street in a honeyed luminescence. Pillars and statues seemed carved from captured sunlight, their surfaces radiating a quiet peace. When the sun touched the city, the entire metropolis floated in a golden haze, its reflection trembling on the surrounding water like a slowly fading memory. To walk there would be to feel wrapped in a sacred light, far from the ordinary world. Plato placed this lost kingdom beyond the Pillars of Hercules, the ancient name for the Strait of Gibraltar. That narrow gateway, where the Mediterranean spills into the vast Atlantic, was the edge of the known world. But Atlantis lay further still, hidden in the quiet reaches of the ocean. It was a realm that existed in the soft margins of sailors' tales, a whispered secret glimpsed through sea mist at dusk. The ocean here was imagined as a serene expanse, its waves rolling slowly under a pale sky. And there, somewhere in that endless blue, Atlantis waited, serene and unreachable, as if the sea itself were keeping a gentle secret. Many modern scholars believe that the myth of Atlantis may have bloomed from the memory of a real civilization, the Minoans of Crete. This Bronze Age culture, with its frescoes of leaping dolphins and blooming lilies, experienced not a sudden cataclysm, but a gentle decline following a volcanic eruption on the island of Thera. The ash and the waves did not swallow them in a single day, but rather cast a long, slow shadow over their golden age. The art and architecture they left behind are like fragments of a half-remembered dream, an earthly echo of Plato's imagined paradise. In their delicate beauty, we can almost feel the quiet sigh of a world that faded like the last light of evening, leaving only whispers on the wind. In the quiet corridors of the 19th century, a thinker named Ignatius Donnelly gazed back through time and saw Atlantis not as a lost island, but as the cradle of all human culture. He imagined it as a mother civilization, a gentle source from which art and science flowed like silver streams into the waiting minds of ancient peoples across the earth. In his vision, this was not a conquest but a soft diffusion, like moonlight spilling over a dark and restless ocean. From the stepped pyramids of distant lands to the sacred rituals of forgotten temples, Donnelly believed these were but distant echoes of Atlantis's original song. It is a poetic thought that all our histories might be linked by one serene and lost chapter. Hello, still drifting with me? That is perfectly fine. You do not need to be awake. But if your eyes are still open, just know that these tales are endless, like waves on a quiet shore. If this soothes your night, a light guides other wanderers here. Today, some curious minds turn their gaze not to the ocean depths but to the sands of Mauritania, where a geological wonder called the Richat structure rests under the desert sun. Known as the Eye of the Sahara, from high above it reveals perfect concentric rings of ancient rock carved by nature's patient hand. These circles seem to echo the architectural plan that Plato described, with rings of land and water enclosing a city's heart. It is a strange and marvelous coincidence, this natural design that mirrors human dream, as if the earth itself is whispering a secret. Looking at it from the stillness of space, you might feel a gentle pull, a quiet wondering if this could be the ghost of a city in the sands, though science tells us it is a collapsed dome of stone, a testament to time's slow artistry. At the heart of the Atlantis legend beats a deep mythic bond with Poseidon, the god of the sea, who was said to have raised the island from the ocean floor as a sacred sanctuary. In the old stories, he fell in love with a mortal woman and built for her this city of concentric beauty, protecting it with rings of water and shimmering walls. You can almost see it in your mind's eye, the turquoise lagoons glowing under a soft sun and the rhythmic pulse of the tides like a slow-breathing lullaby. This spiritual connection was woven into every stone and fountain, a divine embrace that made the city feel both powerful and serene. The waters were not merely a barrier, but a blessing, a source of life and tranquility for the people who called this place home. Imagine stepping into the gardens of Atlantis, where every path led deeper into a lush oasis of green leaves and blooming petals. The air was thick with the perfume of exotic flowers, their scents drifting on the warm evening breeze like a gentle caress. Fruits of every color hung from boughs, offering sweet tastes under the fading light of dusk. These serene retreats were crafted with architectural grace, with terraces and colonnades framing the wild beauty in perfect harmony as citizens wandered under the emerging stars. It was a place where a soul could quiet itself, surrounded by the soft rustle of leaves and the distant murmur of fountains, a retreat from the waking world into a dream of peace. And so the search for Atlantis carries on into our own time, transformed from a hunt for treasure into a quiet journey of discovery. Divers descend through sun-dappled waters into a world of silent blue, where time seems to slow and every grain of sand holds a gentle possibility. They drift over submerged ridges and valleys, guided by scientific curiosity rather than greed, looking for any hint of ancient stone beneath the silt. It is a peaceful exploration, a probing of the deep, as if they are visiting a dream that might still be dreaming beneath the waves. The ocean floor with its soft and shifting sands cradles the mystery like a mother holding a sleeping child, and perhaps that is the truest way to honor Atlantis, not by finding it but by keeping the wonder alive in the quiet of our hearts. And so we drift back to the ancient world, where a philosopher named Plato first whispered of Atlantis into the quiet of history. Around 360 years before the Common Era, in his dialogues Timaeus and Critias, he described it as a great naval power that existed 9,000 years before his own time. Plato saw it as a cautionary tale, a gentle reminder of the fragile dance between ambition and virtue. He spoke of a civilization that reached too far, and in doing so lost its way, its pride dissolving like mist over the sea. It was a story meant to echo through the ages, a soft warning whispered across time, inviting us to ponder the delicate balance of power and peace. Now, picture the city itself, designed as a series of concentric rings of alternating land and water. These rings created a peaceful, circular harmony, like ripples on a still pond. Sturdy bridges and deep canals connected the rings, allowing ships to drift quietly through the heart of the capital. Imagine the soft lapping of water against the stone, the gentle sway of boats beneath a vast, open sky. The canals were like silent highways, carrying vessels past terraced homes and market squares, all part of this harmonious design. It was a place where movement felt like a lullaby, a design of perfect balance, a serene cradle where land and sea embraced. At the center of this tranquil city sat a magnificent temple dedicated to Poseidon, the god of the sea. This sanctuary was crafted from shimmering materials, a vision of ethereal beauty. Its walls were plated with silver, catching the light in a soft, cool shimmer, while the ceiling was made of gold that mirrored the gentle glow of the sun. Think of the quiet awe it must have inspired, a sacred space where the earth and the divine seemed to meet. The pillars stood tall and silent, their surfaces reflecting the calm waters nearby. The air within was filled with a tranquil silence, a peaceful hush that settled over all who entered, as if time itself slowed down within its walls. The landscape surrounding Atlantis was rich with exotic minerals, most notably a legendary reddish metal called orichalcum. This rare material was prized for its deep, warm luster, and it was used to adorn the city's walls. Every surface touched by orichalcum glowed with a soft golden radiance, as if the very structures were alive with a gentle inner light. Picture walking along those walls, the metal reflecting the sun's rays in a hazy golden gleam, painting the streets below with a warm, amber hue. It was a sight of calm majesty, a quiet testament to the island's wealth and beauty, a treasure that blended the grandeur of nature with human craftsmanship. Beyond the gleaming architecture, Atlantis was home to lush gardens and forests filled with strange and beautiful wildlife. These green spaces provided a quiet sanctuary for the citizens, a place to breathe deeply and let the world slip away. The air was always fresh, carrying the lingering scent of blooming flowers and the soft whisper of leaves in the breeze. Imagine the peaceful hum of nature, the gentle rustle of unseen creatures in the undergrowth. Tall trees with broad leaves sheltered delicate flowers that seemed to glow in the dappled light. It was a realm of serene tranquility where the mind could wander without care, a gentle paradise nestled within the city's rings.
Imagine the island, blessed with natural hot and cold springs. These waters flowed side by side, like two friends holding hands. The warm spring soothed tired bodies, while the cool one refreshed the spirit. People came to these healing pools, finding a serene embrace for relaxation and wellness. It was a place where time slowed down, and every breath felt like a soft whisper of peace. The gentle steam from the warm waters mingled with the cool, crisp air, creating a soft mist that hung over the springs. In this tranquil setting, worries seemed to dissolve, carried away by the gentle currents. The sound of the flowing water was a lullaby, lulling the mind into a deep state of calm.
Some modern thinkers suggest the lost city might be based on the Minoan civilization. On the island of Thera, around 1600 BCE, a gentle shift in the earth led to a volcanic event. This shift slowly submerged much of the land, leaving behind a ghostly, underwater silhouette. The once vibrant cities of the Minoans became silent shapes beneath the waves. Now, only shadows of their grandeur remain, sleeping in the deep blue. Perhaps this is the true Atlantis, a dream that drifted gently into the ocean's arms. The memory of that ancient world lingers, like a forgotten melody hummed by the sea. The Richat structure in Mauritania, known as the Eye of the Sahara, calls to explorers. This natural formation has concentric rings that mirror the layout described by Plato. It is as if the earth itself drew a blueprint of a lost city. Standing there, you might imagine ancient walls and canals, now turned to stone and sand. The pattern is so perfect, it seems like a quiet memory of something long gone. From above, the rings look like ripples in a pond, frozen in time, whispering secrets to the sky. Many have gazed upon this wonder, feeling a deep connection to the past, as if the city is merely asleep beneath the dunes. For centuries, poets and dreamers have envisioned Atlantis as a shimmering kingdom on the ocean floor. In their visions, the city is draped in soft blue currents, endlessly flowing. The ruins are embraced by swaying sea anemones and drifting schools of fish. Every column and courtyard is kissed by the gentle tide, creating a silent dance of light and shadow. This peaceful underwater world is a haven for the imagination, where beauty rests undisturbed. The soft hues of coral and the muted light from above paint the scene in colors of dreams. In this quiet realm, the only sound is the whisper of the deep, soothing the soul into stillness. The enduring mystery of Atlantis represents our deepest desire to find a lost paradise. It invites us to drift into a state of wonder, imagining a world of perfect balance, a place where nature and architecture existed in quiet, timeless equilibrium. This dream of a submerged kingdom reminds us of the beauty in the unknown and the peace that comes from letting go. Perhaps Atlantis is not a place, but a feeling within us, a gentle echo of a world that once was and still is in our hearts. As we let our minds wander into the deep, we find a calm that transcends time itself. So close your eyes and let the story carry you on a tide of tranquil thoughts. Now, as we drift deeper into the dream, the ancient story of Atlantis emerges, first whispered into the world through the dialogues of Plato around 360 BC. He wrote of a strong and graceful city on the sea, a naval power that flourished far out in the vast Atlantic Ocean. The city was shaped like a quiet meditation, with rings of water and land circling one another in perfect balance. This design created a floating harmony, where the built world and the natural world held hands gently, a place of serene beauty. At the very heart of this dreaming city stood a magnificent palace, a structure of such gentle grandeur. Its walls were coated in a legendary metal called orichalcum, a substance that shimmered with a warm, reddish gold light. This radiant material was said to be second only to pure gold in value, a treasure of the earth. The soft glow from these walls would drift over the peaceful harbors, casting a calm golden hue upon the still waters where ships rested like sleeping birds. The legend breathes that the people of Atlantis were descendants of Poseidon, the mighty god of the sea, who fell deeply in love with a mortal woman. To keep her safe from the harsh world, he crafted the entire island as a secret sanctuary, a place of refuge. With divine hands he carved the land into a protective embrace, shaping the rings of earth and water to cradle her. It was a gesture of profound love, a balanced and tender design born from the ocean's heart. The ancient texts paint a picture of an advanced utopia, a society where life flowed with the quiet precision of a gentle stream. The laws were followed, not with force, but with a soft, shared understanding, like leaves turning in the wind. The people lived in abundant peace, their days filled with quiet plenty, drifting gracefully from morning to night. They shared the riches of the earth and the sea freely, their society rooted deep in wisdom and a spirit of cooperation, like a community of dreamers moving as one. Perhaps the dream of Atlantis was born from a real lost world, the Minoan civilization that once bloomed on the island of Crete. Around 1600 BC, a massive volcanic eruption at Thera shook the region, causing the land to gently subside beneath the waves. What remained was a serene underwater landscape, where ancient ruins now sleep in a blue and silent silence. These submerged stones hold a quiet memory, a real sunken garden that may have planted the seeds of the Atlantis story in our collective dream. As we drift deeper into this gentle dream, our thoughts glide toward a distant horizon, a place where myth and landscape intertwine. Some explorers look toward the Eye of the Sahara, a place in Mauritania also known as the Richat structure. This vast circular shape is carved by nature into the desert, with rings of rock spreading outward like ripples in a still pond. The concentric pattern is uncannily similar to Plato's vision of Atlantis, a city of alternating rings of land and water. Standing there in the warm desert air, you can almost feel the breath of a long-vanished civilization. It is as if the stones themselves remember the gentle hum of life that once filled those ancient streets. The sun-baked earth holds a quiet dream, a memory of a city that may have flourished here under the same golden light. From this sun-washed possibility, we drift backward in time to the 19th century, where a thinker named Ignatius Donnelly offered a different kind of vision. He imagined Atlantis not just as a sunken island, but as a mother civilization, the original source from which all human cultures gently blossomed. In his dream, knowledge and art flowed outward from this central hub, like water from a sacred spring, reaching the farthest corners of the globe. It was a peaceful picture of human unity, a single tree whose branches spread quietly across the world. This idea of a gentle diffusion, a sharing without conflict, touched many hearts and still lingers in our collective memories. It invites us to consider a time when wisdom traveled softly, carried not by conquest but by curiosity. Now, our journey takes us beneath the waves, to the present-day search that continues in the deep. Modern oceanographers drift through the blue, not with sails, but with beams of sound and satellite eyes. They send sonar pulses down through the water, tracing the hidden contours of the seafloor, looking for submerged continental shelves. They search for the gentle slopes of lost mountains, the kind that might once have been the peaks of a forgotten paradise. These ghostly shapes, resting in the silent dark, whisper of islands that sank softly into the ocean's embrace. It is a slow, patient quest, a dialogue with the deep that unfolds in quiet, sweeping scans. Each contour line drawn on a screen is a quiet prayer, a hope to glimpse a world that time has gently hidden. Over the ages, the story of Atlantis has transformed into something even more profound. It has become a universal symbol of the fragile balance between human creation and the quiet power of nature. It serves as a soft reminder that the earth can reclaim even the most magnificent works of human hands, drawing them back into her silent embrace. There is no anger in this, only a gentle, patient inevitability, like the tide covering a sandcastle. The tale of Atlantis soothes us with the thought that nothing is truly lost, only transformed, folded back into the great, dreaming earth. It reminds us to walk lightly, to build with humility, knowing that all our cities are but fleeting blooms. And so Atlantis drifts now as a peaceful mystery, a lullaby from the ancient world. It invites us to close our eyes and picture a realm of shimmering towers and silent gardens, suspended in the liquid blue. This lost world is not gone, but waiting, floating eternally in the quiet depths of our collective imagination. It is a dream that never fades, a place we can visit whenever we let our minds sink softly beneath the surface. In the stillness of the night, Atlantis becomes a gentle companion, a story that rocks us gently toward sleep. It is a peaceful dream, a whispered memory that connects us all to a shared, mythical past, floating forever just beneath the waves of consciousness. Long ago, in the quiet spaces of ancient thought, the philosopher Plato first shared the story of Atlantis. It was around the year 360 before our common era, in his dialogues called Timaeus and Critias. He described a powerful naval empire that existed 9,000 years before his own time, a civilization floating in a sea of timeless wonder. Imagine a world so distant it seems to drift just beyond the edge of memory, like a half-remembered dream upon waking. Picture now the city itself, a design of perfect harmony. It was built as a series of concentric rings, alternating circles of water and land. These rings created a gentle pattern of blue and green, like soft ripples spreading outward in a still pond. Shimmering bridges and quiet tunnels connected each ring, allowing small boats to drift slowly from the outer shores all the way to the inner sanctuary. There was no rush, only a calm, steady movement toward the heart of the island. The water reflected the sky, and the land cradled the water in an endless embrace. It was a city designed for quiet contemplation, a mandala of water and earth. At that inner heart stood a magnificent temple, a sanctuary dedicated to Poseidon, the god of the deep sea. It was constructed from gold, silver, and ivory, materials that seemed to hold light within themselves. Under the gentle Mediterranean sun, the temple glowed softly, a warm presence that anchored the spirit of all who lived there. It was a place of quietude, where the whispers of the waves met the silence of stone. You can almost smell the salt in the air and see the faint gleam of precious metals, all blending into a feeling of sacred peace. The people of Atlantis were said to possess a rare metal called orichalcum, a substance that shimmered with a deep, red light. This mysterious material coated the walls of the city so that every building radiated a warm, golden glow, much like the colors of the setting sun. As daylight softened into dusk, the entire island would gently blaze with this quiet light, as if the city itself was breathing the twilight. It must have looked like a dreamscape, a place where the boundary between the earth and the sky dissolved into a soft amber haze. Let your mind soften now and consider a different perspective. Some modern researchers believe this legend may be inspired by a real civilization, the Minoans who thrived on the island of Crete. They think a volcanic eruption on the nearby island of Thera caused a gentle receding of the coastline, a slow vanishing of shores. This quiet transformation may have left behind a ghostly memory, a faint echo of a lost paradise that traveled across the centuries. Perhaps the memory of those gentle shores, slowly fading beneath the waves, became the seed of the Atlantis story. What Plato wrote down might have been that soft, distant dream, a story born from the sea's gentle taking of something precious, and so Atlantis lives on, not as a sunken city, but as a feeling of longing for a world that might have been. As you rest here, Let these images drift through your mind like clouds across a quiet sky. The rings of water, the glowing temple, the warm light of orichalcum, they are all part of a dream that has never truly faded. Just let them float, gently, like leaves on a still pond, and allow your mind to drift into the quiet of the deep. Close your eyes and see it now, that gentle city beneath the sun. In the heart of the Sahara Desert, there lies a mysterious geological formation called the Richat structure. Some know it as the Eye of the Sahara, and when seen from above, its vast concentric rings of rock seem to echo the ancient description of Atlantis written by Plato so long ago. The stones circle inward like the ripples left by a single drop of water, a quiet reminder that nature sometimes sculpts shapes we thought existed only in legend. It is a place where the earth itself seems to dream, a circular whisper in the sand. The old stories tell that Atlantis did not slowly fade with the passing of centuries. Instead, it was a single day and a single night of great misfortune that silenced the city forever. The ground grew soft and low, and the kingdom breathed its last as it drifted gently beneath the surface of the sea. Nothing remained but a vast and quiet shimmering expanse of water, as if the ocean were smoothing a blanket over a sleeping world. For ages now, the waves have held that silence, rocking it softly. Ancient mariners spoke of a gateway to this hidden world, a place they called the Pillars of Heracles. It was the narrow strait between Gibraltar and the shores of Morocco, a doorway of stone and salt spray. They imagined that beyond those pillars, the water became impossibly calm, stretching into an infinite and peaceful horizon, a realm untouched by storm, where the sea and sky melted into one gentle breath. It was the threshold to something sacred, a border between the known and the softly unknown. Many philosophers and dreamers have come to see Atlantis, not as a physical place of marble and gold, but as a tender allegory. They believe it was a story meant to teach about the dangers of pride and the precious fragile balance that holds a civilization together. In this gentle light, the lost city becomes a floating metaphor, a mirror held up to our own human hearts. It reminds us that great beauty can be as delicate as a petal, easily carried away by a sudden wind. And so, in our collective imagination, Atlantis persists as a soft underwater dream. We picture marble columns dressed in flowing veils of sea anemones, their white stone glowing faintly in the deep blue dark. Schools of fish move through silent courtyards, and light trickles down like memory itself. It is a peaceful sanctuary now, drifting eternally in the quiet heart of the Atlantic, a lullaby carved in stone and water, forever beyond reach, forever at rest. You are still here, floating so peacefully. There is no need to hold on to the city or the sea. Just let the images dissolve like silt settling in the deep. I will keep speaking softly. You can rest now. Long ago, around 360 years before the Common Era, the philosopher Plato first shared with the world the story of a civilization named Atlantis. He placed it beyond the Pillars of Hercules, in a distant sea where a highly advanced people had built a city like no other. In his dialogues, Timaeus and Critias, he described a marvel of engineering, a city designed as a series of perfect concentric rings, alternating circles of water and land, shimmering softly under a warm sun. This was a place where geometry met divinity, a testament to harmony and order, and its image has lingered in our dreams ever since. The city's architecture was said to be adorned with a rare and luminous metal known as orichalcum, a glowing alloy with a warm, reddish-golden hue. This precious material covered the walls and temples, bathing them in an ethereal radiance that seemed to pulse gently with the light of the sun. As the day's rays fell upon the city, the walls would reflect a soft, amber glow across the tranquil canals that wound through the heart of the capital, creating a dreamlike shimmer on the water's surface. The entire city, it was said, glowed like a living jewel nestled within its rings of water, a beacon of beauty and serenity that spoke to the soul. Plato described the island itself as a landmass, so vast it was said to be larger than Libya and Asia combined, a sprawling maritime empire teeming with life. Its hillsides were covered in a tapestry of emerald forests that stretched endlessly toward the horizon, while silver streams wound gently through the valleys like delicate veins of light. Lush gardens overflowed with fragrant blossoms and heavy fruits, and the air was filled with the gentle songs of countless birds and the soft rustle of abundant wildlife. The whole island was a sanctuary of natural abundance, a paradise where the earth itself seemed to breathe in harmony with its inhabitants, providing for their every need without strain or want. According to the legend, the city was protected by a massive outer wall, crafted from brass and tin, built not with aggressive intent, but to gently shield the inner circles of the city. This great ring of metal rose from the sea like a quiet sentinel, a boundary that separated the lively energy of the outer harbor from the profound stillness that lay within. Beyond this wall, the bustling docks and the hum of trade faded into a hushed reverence, giving way to the serene royal gardens and the sacred temples that rested at the very center of Atlantis. Its surface, warmed by the sun, cast a soft, protective glimmer over the waterways, a gentle reminder of the harmony that guarded this civilization. The society of Atlantis was guided by 10 kings, all direct descendants of the sea god Poseidon, who met every few years in a great temple at the island's heart. This temple was not merely a place of worship, but a sacred space where the rulers gathered under a dome of stars or the filtered light of the moon, seeking wisdom from the god of the deep. They would renew their vows to rule with justice and compassion, their voices a soft murmur against the lapping of water. With a steady and calming hand, they guided their people, ensuring that harmony flowed through the kingdom as effortlessly as the canals through the city, a gentle current of peace that held the nation in a quiet, unbroken embrace. And so does its memory still soothe our restless minds, like a lullaby from the deep. Some modern researchers turn their gaze to the Eye of the Sahara, a place known as the Richat structure in the vast deserts of Mauritania. From above, it looks like a gentle whirlpool carved into the earth, with concentric rings that spiral outward in perfect harmony. These rings mirror the circular design described by Plato, as if the ancient legend left its blueprint upon the golden sands. Drifting through the desert heat, the Richat structure feels like a quiet echo of Atlantis, a dreamy memory of a city that once was. The sun casts soft shadows across those rings, and in the stillness you might almost hear the whisper of a lost world. Others believe the legend of Atlantis was inspired by the Minoan civilization, which flourished on the island of Crete long ago. This advanced culture met a quiet decline after the volcanic eruption of Thera, when ash and tidal waves swept across the Mediterranean. The drifting ash settled over the sea like a veil, and the shifting tides slowly reclaimed the shores. Over time, a real historical memory may have gently transformed into a timeless myth. It floats through history, a soft echo of a world that faded beneath the waves. The Minoans left behind beautiful frescoes and peaceful stories, their legacy drifting into legend, blending with the dream of Atlantis. In the 19th century, a writer named Ignatius Donnelly popularized a beautiful idea. He believed that Atlantis was the mother culture, the single source from which all ancient civilizations descended. Donnelly envisioned a world where knowledge and art floated like gentle waves from that lost city. They spread slowly across the oceans, touching the shores of Egypt, Babylon, and the Americas. It was a vision of unity, where wisdom drifted from a single, peaceful seed. This idea captivated many, offering a comforting narrative that everything was connected through a forgotten paradise. The downfall of Atlantis is described as a single sweeping event of earthquakes and floods. It all happened in a single day and night, a quiet cataclysm that ended a golden age. The land drifted slowly beneath the waves, sinking so peacefully into the ocean. It left behind an underwater kingdom, hidden in the deep blue silence of the ocean. There, no sound disturbs the calm, only the gentle sway of the currents. Fish glide through its silent streets, and light dances upon its forgotten stones. The city rests in a tranquil slumber, its towers and temples still standing in the stillness of time. Today, Atlantis lives on as a symbol of our enduring human desire for a lost paradise. It is a place of perfect balance and wisdom, where society and nature lived in harmony. Forever just beyond our reach, it remains a drifting dream, a soft star in our collective imagination. It invites us to imagine a world of shimmering waters where the light is always gentle and the night is filled with quiet starlight. Atlantis whispers to us, reminding us of what we might have lost and what we still hold dear. In the hush of the deep, it endures as an eternal lullaby. Let us journey now into the mists of memory, to a tale that has drifted across centuries like a feather on a still pond. In the quiet of ancient Greece, around 360 years before the Common Era, the philosopher Plato shared a vision that would echo through time. In his dialogues Timaeus and Critias, he spoke of Atlantis, a naval power that existed 9,000 years before his own life. This was a civilization of profound grace and beauty, a place where water and land danced in gentle harmony. He envisioned it as a series of concentric rings, alternating circles of water and land, creating a floating sanctuary. Picture it resting upon the calm sea, a dream woven from the whispers of the waves, a testament to a forgotten age. And within those sacred rings, the very stones of the city held a secret, a rare metal named orichalcum. This reddish mineral shimmered with an inner fire, glowing softly under the gentle sunlight, like embers of a distant star. The architecture was adorned with it, and it gave the entire city a warm, golden radiance. That light reflected across the peaceful canals, painting the water with hues of sunset, creating a mirror of calm and beauty. The air itself felt alive with a soft luminescence, a quiet glow that seemed to cradle the spirit in a blanket of peace. You could almost feel the warmth of that ancient light, a gentle kiss upon the skin, a reminder of a world at rest. The legend tells us that this enchanted island was a gift, crafted by Poseidon, the god of the deep and boundless sea. He carved it as a peaceful home for his children, shaping the land with the tenderness of a father's hand. With gentle precision, he sculpted the shores, ensuring the city remained in perfect harmony with the drifting tides. The waters whispered around it, cradling the civilization in a liquid embrace, a sanctuary where time moved to the rhythm of the waves. Each ripple carried a blessing, each wave a soft lullaby for the sleeping city, a lullaby of eternal peace. Across the ages, seekers have looked for traces of this lost world, and in the vast quiet of the Sahara Desert, a place named the Richat structure, or the Eye of the Sahara, stirs the imagination. Its circular rings of ancient rock mirror the concentric design that Plato described, resting silently in the golden sands. From high above, it looks like a ghostly fingerprint, a faint echo of that floating sanctuary. The desert winds blow softly over its ridges, carrying whispers of a forgotten story, a memory carved into the earth itself, waiting to be remembered in the stillness. It is a quiet sentinel in the sea of time, a gentle reminder that some dreams leave their mark on the waking world. In the 19th century, a scholar named Ignatius Donnelly offered a gentle theory, like a seed floating on a soft breeze. He believed that Atlantis was the mother civilization, the ancient root from which all other cultures bloomed. He pictured a gentle dispersal of people, carrying the city's wisdom across the quiet currents of the Atlantic. In his mind, knowledge sailed softly from those shores, spreading like ripples in a calm pond. This wisdom nurtured the world, a silent gift from a lost island, cradled forever in the hearts of distant lands. It was a vision of unity, of a shared dream passed down through the ages, a legacy of light from the deep, dark sea. Some scientists believe the story of Atlantis might be a distant memory of the Thera eruption, a time when the Minoan civilization on Santorini began to fade, drifting away like mist over the sea. The volcanic ash slowly settled, blanketing the land in a soft, hushed quiet. This gentle covering may have inspired tales of a city returning to the waves, its beauty preserved only in whispers. Imagine that serene landscape, where every sound was muffled, and the world felt like a dream. The memory of that peaceful decline became the seed of Atlantis, a legend born from the Earth's quiet transformation. The legend grew slowly, like a pearl forming around a grain of sand, each retelling adding a layer of mystery and calm. So when you close your eyes and picture Atlantis, you are not recalling a myth but a faint echo of a lost era, a time when the world fell silent and beautiful. The city of Atlantis was envisioned with vast gardens filled with exotic fruits and fragrant flowers. These blossoms swayed gently in the warm sea breeze, their sweet scent drifting through the air. The lush spaces offered a quiet retreat for the citizens, places to wander in peaceful contemplation. Think of the soft rustle of leaves and the distant murmur of waves, a symphony of calm. In these gardens, time seemed to slow, inviting every soul to rest in pure harmony. The fruits hung ripe and heavy, colors like jewels in the soft light, promising a taste of eternal sweetness. Everywhere was a gentle buzz of life, bees hummed in the warm air, and the fragrance of jasmine and salt mingled. It was a place where the soul could drift endlessly, unmoored from all worry. This was a realm of endless tranquility, a green sanctuary where the heart found its true, quiet rhythm. Atlantis boasted advanced irrigation systems, a marvel of gentle engineering. Crystal-clear water flowed softly through the city's concentric rings, its movement a lulling song. This steady, calming flow kept the urban landscape lush, green, and deeply serene. Picture the water sparkling in the soft light, nourishing every leaf and petal with quiet grace. It was a place where nature and design melded into one seamless, tranquil dream. The sound of water was a constant, soothing companion, washing away all worries. The water danced in shallow channels, glinting like liquid silver under the sun's warm gaze. Every home was touched by this gentle flow, a reminder of the city's perfect harmony with the natural world. To listen to it was to hear the breath of Atlantis itself, a deep and peaceful rhythm that lulled all to sleep. At the heart of the capital stood a magnificent temple dedicated to Poseidon. The air inside was rich with the scent of incense and the faint salt of the sea. This sacred space stood as a silent sentinel, watching over the drifting ships in the harbor below. Feel the cool stone and the soft echo of footsteps in the vast hall. It was a place of deep reverence, where the line between the earthly and the eternal felt thin and shimmering. The temple's presence was a gentle guardian, ensuring peace for all who sailed the glittering waters. The columns rose like ancient trees, their carved stories whispering of distant voyages. Light filtered in softly, painting patterns on the marble floor. Standing there, you could feel the weight of centuries melt into the quiet air. To this day, the search for Atlantis is a journey of wonder. It evokes a feeling of drifting through time, seeking a forgotten paradise. The legend remains a soft whisper in history, a gentle murmur that invites us to imagine. A world of perfect balance and quiet harmony, where every element existed in serene accord. Let that thought carry you, like a leaf on a calm stream, into a realm of endless, peaceful dreaming. This quest is not about finding a place, but about reconnecting with a sense of tranquil perfection that lives within us all. Drift into this dream, where waters are calm and the sky forever soft. In Atlantis, there is only a perfect quiet now. Breathe deeply and feel this paradise resting in the stillness of your soul. Now let us drift deeper into a story whispered across ages. Plato first gave voice to Atlantis in his dialogues, over 2,000 years ago, speaking of a naval power born 9,000 years before his own breath. Imagine that vast stretch of time as a floating bridge, a soft connection between his world and a past so distant it feels like a tender, fading dream. Picture the city itself, not as stone, but as a quiet pattern of circles. Rings of land and shimmering water laid out in perfect concentric embrace. Bridges and canals stitched these peaceful rings together, each one a gentle passage, so ships could glide softly through the heart of the capital, their reflections barely breaking the still surface. The heart of that city was warmed by a metal called orichalcum, a glowing substance second only to gold in value. Its reddish light dressed the citadel walls, casting a warm, soft glow over the harbor, as if the entire kingdom held a quiet, inner sun that never fully faded into night. From high towers, the people of Atlantis watched the heavens, their minds attuned to a deep and silent wisdom. They lived in harmony with the slow, steady cycles of the stars, charting the immense rotation of the cosmos with a sacred stillness, their knowledge as vast as the sky they mapped. Yet perhaps this city was not pure myth, but a memory softened by time. Some believe Atlantis was the Minoan island of Thera, where a gentle shift of the earth caused the land to slide quietly into the Aegean Sea. And now, the only whisper that remains lies in the quiet ruins of Akrotiri, sleeping under a blanket of ash, waiting in perfect, patient silence.
Some researchers look toward the Eye of the Sahara, the Richat structure in Mauritania, as a potential site. This vast, circular geological formation mirrors the rings Plato described, resting now in a peaceful, golden desert. Imagine the warm wind drifting over the ancient stones, soft as a forgotten memory. The legend suggests that Atlantis was protected by a great wall of bronze, keeping the city serene and secure. Inside these walls, lush gardens and flowing springs provided a sense of eternal spring and quiet abundance. Feel the cool touch of the water, the gentle hush of leaves in a sanctuary of deep green silence. In the story, the city vanished in a single day and night of misfortune, slipping beneath the waves into a deep blue silence. It is described as having been swallowed by the sea, leaving only a shallow lagoon where the waters drift calmly. Hear the soft lapping of the waves, a lullaby over the drowned towers below.
For centuries, explorers have dreamed of finding the city, drifting across the vast Atlantic and Pacific Oceans in search of a sunken paradise. This enduring myth reflects a human longing for a lost golden age of wisdom and peace, a quiet dream that floats on the endless tide, carried by the soft, rhythmic breath of the sea. Modern sonar technology allows us to peer into the dark, quiet depths of the ocean floor, revealing strange mountain ranges and hidden valleys. While the city remains a mystery, the soft currents of the deep sea continue to guard its secrets. Feel the profound stillness, the weightless dark, holding all that is unseen beneath the silent, drifting waters. In the quiet realms of ancient thought, where shadows dance and ideas sleep, Plato first breathed life into the legend of Atlantis. He spoke of a powerful naval empire, vast and serene, that existed 9,000 years before his own time, floating in the endless dark blue of the Atlantic Ocean. It was a place of ancient wisdom and gentle power, a whispered memory from the depths of history, where the sea cradled its secrets tight. The waves themselves seemed to hold the echo of that lost city, soft and faint. The very thought of it drifts like a dream, slipping through the fingers of time, warm and unreal, and in the stillness of night, you can almost hear the lap of those ancient waves. The city unfolded in perfect concentric circles, rings of water and land woven together like a silken dream. These peaceful waterways were linked by bridges and tunnels, allowing ships to drift gently into the heart of the capital, soft as a lullaby. The gentle murmur of water caressed the stone, a soothing rhythm that lulled the senses into deep calm. Each ring embraced the next in a tender hold, a design of such harmony that it felt like the earth itself had drawn it while resting. The bridges, arched like sleeping giants, and tunnels, dark as velvet, guided vessels home. It was a sanctuary of gentle currents, where the outside world faded into a muted hum. In the quiet spaces between, the air was cool and fresh, carrying the whisper of ancient mariners, and at the heart, a stillness reigned, deep and unwavering, like the center of a dream. Legend tells of rare minerals dusting the city, a red metal called orichalcum. It shimmered with a golden light, casting a warm, soft glow upon those towering walls. The streets were paved with whispers of riches, glowing faintly in the gentle daylight. Orichalcum blushed like a sunset captured in stone, warming the very soul of that lost empire. Every surface held a quiet gleam, as if the city itself was breathing light. The reflection of the sun on that rare metal wrapped the entire city in a blanket of comforting gold, soothing and slow. This precious substance gave the city a heartbeat of radiance, pulsing with a low, steady warmth. It was said that even in the deepest night, the glow of orichalcum could guide you home, a soft beacon in the dark. At the center, a grand temple rose for Poseidon, the sea god. Silver and ivory crafted its walls, a silent, hallowed space for weary souls to find their peace. The temple stood tall and still, a sanctuary where shadows played gently on cool surfaces. Inside, the air was thick with reverence, holding the murmurs of countless prayers. It was a place where the world outside melted away, leaving only the soft echo of the sea god's blessing. The silver gleamed with a moonlit patience, while ivory offered a mute warmth, together cradling the faithful in a hushed embrace. The doors opened wide to the salt-tinged breeze, and the pillars, smooth as water-worn stone, supported a roof that seemed to float.
As you float on the edge of sleep, let me whisper about Atlantis. Feel the softness of ancient myths, the warmth of lost worlds, the hush of time. Let the soft voice guide you down. Deep in the quiet of past times, some researchers feel the myth of Atlantis was born from the Thera eruption. Picture it, around 1600 BCE, warm ash layered the sky over Santorini, like a soft gray blanket of dusk. This event led to the quiet fading of the Minoan civilization, a gentle drift into eternal silence. Their world left behind only soft echoes, vibrations in the still air, the memory of children laughing. You can almost feel the velvety ash settling on the ancient stones, the hush of a lost world. The sea now murmurs their story in your ear, a tender sigh from history, a whisper for your rest. Shift your soft gaze to the vast Sahara, where the Richat structure waits in golden silence. This natural wonder, with its perfect concentric rings, mirrors the ancient city Plato once described. Its rings ripple out like a silent bell in the sand. Modern enthusiasts walk its warm edges, feeling a deep, still peace, a breath of ancient Atlantis. The dry wind stirs the sand softly, like a gentle memory from the past. Here, time stretches wide and motionless, holding secrets of a lost world. Let your mind sink into this serene golden enigma, a dream in the desert, a star fallen to earth. In the tender legend, Atlantis fell over one soft day and one velvet night. Not in chaos, but in gentle, rhythmic tremors that rocked the marble city to sleep. The temples sighed as they sank, gardens of lilies became a liquid blur. Slowly, the ocean drew Atlantis into its vast, silent heart, a mother cradling a child. Water weight presses on its ancient stones, a soft blanket. Now the deep currents sway through its broken columns, a lullaby for the lost. The seafloor is forever its bed, smooth and cold, a silent embrace that never ends. Across dreaming centuries, explorers have sailed through azure waters of the Caribbean and Mediterranean. Their boats glide softly, seeking quiet clues of a sunken utopia. They listen for the lap of waves over forgotten domes, the shadow of a civilization in blue depths. They feel the pulse of history in the deep, a soft heartbeat. Each ripple might trace an avenue, a marketplace, a harbor filled with silence. The sea cradles these remnants in a watery, silent embrace. It is a dream that drifts just below the surface, in the warm, still blue, forever and ever. Atlantis now rests in our minds as a soft, eternal symbol of fragility. It whispers of how brief our towers stand, how fragile our brightest lights. Think of it as a floating thought, a peaceful mystery on the verge of dream. It is no longer stone and water, but a tender whisper that invites sleep. Let this myth drift through you, a serene lullaby from the ancient past. Swirl into its depths, where imagination and soft waves cradle your weary spirit. Let it hold you like the ocean holds its secrets. Let go now and follow the calm into deep rest. So drift away on these gentle thoughts. Let the whispered secrets of Atlantis carry you into sleep, peaceful and deep. Let them wrap around you like a gentle tide, pulling you into slumber. Plato, in the soft lamplight of ancient Greece, first breathed life into Atlantis around 360 before Christ, weaving it into his dialogues Timaeus and Critias. He spoke of a naval power vast and luminous, a city of shimmering governance and architecture,
meant to stand as a philosophical allegory for the perfect society. Its walls gleamed with the promise of order, its streets hummed with an ideal rhythm, and from its harbors, ships sailed into legend, carrying the weight of a dream that would haunt the human heart through millennia, a beacon of what we might become and what we might lose to the silent depths of time, a story born from the mind of a philosopher to remind us of our perpetual longing for utopia. The city itself was a masterpiece of design, unfolding in concentric rings of water and land, like ripples spreading from a stone dropped into a still pond. These alternating circles of sea and earth were connected by bridges and tunnels, elegant passageways that allowed ships to glide gently through the heart of the capital. Imagine vessels drifting in the soft light, their sails reflecting on the water, moving between rings like a serene dance, carrying traders and philosophers into a center that pulsed with life and harmony, a living mandala etched onto the ocean's surface, where every wave echoed the symmetry of celestial order. At the exact center of this aquatic marvel stood a magnificent temple dedicated to Poseidon, the god of the sea, crafted from gold, silver, and ivory. It rose like a sacred mountain, its walls shimmering with the colors of the deep, capturing the mystery and depth of the ocean itself. Inside, statues and altars glowed warmly under the Mediterranean sun, as if infused with the sea's own breath, a place where mortals could touch the divine, feeling the pull of the tides and the whisper of waves in every corner of that hallowed space, a sanctuary of eternal calm where the spirit of the deep held gentle converse with the soul. Plato placed this legendary island beyond the Pillars of Hercules, what we now know as the Strait of Gibraltar, at the very edge of the ancient world's map. There, Atlantis floated as a distant paradise, a realm where the known dissolved into myth and ocean mist. It was a land of dreams and speculation, positioned so far that it seemed to exist in the realm of pure imagination, a glittering utopia that sailors only glimpsed in tales. Forever sailing westward into the setting sun, a jewel beyond the horizon that called to every curious heart with its promise of perfection and its ache of the unreachable, a twilight realm where the day's last light kissed the water. Many scholars whisper that this enduring myth may have been inspired by the cataclysm of Thera, an eruption around 1600 BC that shook the Minoan civilization on Crete. The gentle submerging of coastal towns into the blue waters of the Aegean could have planted the first seeds for stories of a lost continent. Imagine those ancient people watching their homes sink slowly beneath the waves, carrying the memory of a thriving world transformed into a legend of Atlantis, a tale of splendor consumed by the sea, passed down through generations until it became a golden echo in the human soul. A reminder of nature's power and the fragility of human glory, a soft, submerged song that still murmurs in our collective dreams. In the late 19th century, Ignatius Donnelly dreamed Atlantis as the mother civilization, a golden age of shared wisdom and peaceful art drifting softly into the depths of time. A quiet chord of unity sank beneath the waves, leaving only a shimmer on the horizon of memory. Many eyes now turn toward the eye of the Sahara, the Richat structure, its concentric rings a ghostly echo of a city that once flourished in a green, lush world. Before the sands shifted, its circles may have cradled silent music, now just a sigh upon the desert wind. The waters of Atlantis cradled exotic fish and a rare, glowing metal called orichalcum, a reddish-gold alloy that bathed the city walls in a soft, iridescent shimmer. Under the moon, the entire island seemed to breathe with a gentle, submerged radiance, like a pearl resting in the palm of the sea. Vast floating gardens rose as sanctuaries of fragrant flowers and towering palms, their leaves rustling with the sea breeze. Here, philosophers wandered and dreamed, their thoughts as light as pollen drifting toward the water's edge. In a single day and night, Atlantis descended, a slow, quiet fall into the silent blue embrace of the deep. Now it rests, a peaceful underwater kingdom, a lullaby sung by the currents, forever cradled in the ocean's heart. And with that, our journey through the lost city has reached its gentle end. Your mind has wandered through coral streets and moonlit gardens, and now it is time to let those images dissolve like waves upon a distant shore. If these words have helped you drift toward sleep, perhaps leave a soft like in the quiet of the night. And if you subscribe, I will be here whenever you need me, a voice in the darkness ready to guide you back to dreams. Good night, sleep well, and remember, the lost city of Atlantis still waits in the hush of the deep whenever you are ready to explore once more. Rest now, everything is exactly as it should be.